Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be discussing something a little different than usual, but still very important intel for not only off-white shock drops that we may be seeing in the near future, but also something else that we'll be discussing. Specifically, in this video, we will cover the shock drops that have already occurred in this form, how these sorts of shock drops work, potential upcoming shock drops in this form, and of course, to stay 100% updated regarding this and any other information regarding reselling, the market, or even acquiring these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications. Also, for urgent updates such as exclusive access, shock drops, restocks, etc., be sure to follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and personals for you. This way, you're always in the loop 24/7. Without wasting any of your guys' time, let's discuss the shock drops in this form that have already occurred. The first notable shock drop of this kind was on the recent Ambush Dunk release. If you guys recall, the OG Ambush Dunk was a completely terrible release. The site completely died, and it was so bad that even bots were struggling to check out. The very few that supported, of course. On the other hand, they executed the most recent drop in a very different manner. A manner that a lot of you guys on this channel are quite familiar with, especially if you have watched my recent video on the Jordan 4 Union. Essentially, what Ambush ended up doing was dropping on a subdomain from their actual website, which they kept under wraps before the drop actually took place, of course. If you guys watched the Jordan 4 Union video, or even my 2018 Jordan 1 Union live stream, or even went for any big recent Shopify collab drops, such as the Meunier Jordan 3s, then you will be familiar with this. Well, it appears that this other site platform that Ambush uses also seems knowledgeable of how successful these Shopify drops have been, which has led them to start implementing this same drop method themselves. We refer to this normally as the new domain method, so evidently it's not just Shopify that is starting to take advantage of this method now. We'll talk more about how these work in a bit. First, let's continue with one of the other ones that we have recently seen in this form that was not Shopify. The other one that we have seen was actually just super recently, just several days ago in fact, from me making this video, and it was on the Off-White website this time. This was certainly unexpected, and I'll tell you something pretty funny about this drop as well. So, it's no secret that numerous groups monitor the Off-White website for random drops and restocks, those of which are normally very accurate and successful. There never tends to really be any major issues, at least as of recently. However, these monitors are normally checking these stock endpoints. Well, just a few days ago, Off-White loaded up the Off-White Converse onto their site. However, there was no stock at all on the Off-White website. In fact, it was just a link to another website, or should I say, a subdomain. As you can see, this is exactly what Ambush did as well, reflecting a very reminiscent release or restock to what we normally see on big Shopify collabs. Now this worked very well considering no monitors picked this up, considering there was no stock loaded on the Off-White website. It was all on the unexpected domain that no one could predict, making it impossible to monitor. The way the word spread about this was literally from one single individual who happened to be browsing the site, came across it, and shared the link in a group. I definitely expect more restocks and shock drops from Off-White in this exact same manner, especially those upcoming Dunks or even the Off-White Air Force Ones that we'll be seeing in the next couple of months. This is how I expect them to drop. This Converse restock was likely just a beta test, some stock that they've been saving up for this thing, and it looks like the beta test went very well. Now keep in mind that these two sites are using the same platform, just like how other Shopify sites were. This leads me to hypothesize about where the next domain shock drop might just be. I might be wrong on this, but I do think it is at least good to prepare and be aware of this situation regardless, in the case that my hypothesis might actually be correct. We'll go into that in a little bit, but first, let's discuss how these actually work. For anyone who recalls my recent Jordan 4 Union had a comp, or even the one before that, we'll see me point out that I think it is very unlikely that they will drop on their advertised domain, where they put up all the marketing pages and everything, and it seems more like a Trojan horse tactic rather than anything else, because I remember exactly what they did back in the 2018 drop for the Jordan 1s. More importantly, as of recently, we have seen a massive influx in Shopify collab releases successfully dropping this way, leading to tons of manual checkouts. Shout out to the real OGs who were in that legendary Union Jordan 1 live stream back in 2018, who remember the very first time we actually saw this take place. Now yes, I know that Ambush, Off-White, and the other site that I'll be discussing soon are not on the Shopify platform. However, the reason I do bring Shopify up is because it is quite evident that this platform took direct inspiration from Shopify's recent success with getting manual users to cop, and it just so happens to be working pretty well. I also wouldn't doubt that they have even communicated before and perhaps agreed to use this method mutually, considering this platform actually also does outsource a few minor product-related features from Shopify Opticommerce specifically. Regardless, this should be obvious to you guys that this is the same exact concept. Why would they use this same exact concept, you may ask? Because it works, and frankly, it works very well. It reduces the mass amount of requests that the site would normally be receiving, causing a potential crash for other normal customers not going for the product, and it also makes it much harder for actual manual users to actually end up getting this product, which a lot of these websites are trying to do with their agreements with Nike. Anyway, what they do is drop the real stock on a brand new domain that they normally are not sharing beforehand. The logic behind this is why I don't suggest you bother running tasks for a drop like this, because the domain they drop on is, again, unknown. It is kept hidden from the public until the drop is actually live. You can argue that this is technically still possible to bot if it's on the Shopify platform rather than the one I'm discussing right now, since you can just use a custom Shopify module in your bot and then just copy and paste a new domain for the site, but safe mode normally won't work like this in most bots. Most importantly, it takes longer to copy and paste the domain and link into the bot and then start tasks after that than it would be to normally just simply click add to cart manually, especially if you have an autofill extension such as the one Endurance provides free to all members, passive autofill. Speaking of which, shout out to all Endurance members who had a massive cookout with passive autofill today on the Supreme Box Logo release as well as the Jordan 3 Manière restock. When it comes to this other platform though, there is absolutely no chance that you would be able to run this new domain since it is a non-Shopify platform. You can't just load that into your bot. So essentially, it makes it much less efficient to bot on Shopify and impossible to bot on this other site platform that we're discussing today, assuming they keep the domain secret up until the drop. Now moving on, the site I'm going to discuss is currently added by two different bots, at least as of me making this video currently. That is Cyber and the Kickstation, I believe. I'm pretty sure they will both work if they do hypothetically drop on this domain. That is, unless they do drop on a separate domain, which honestly is my current hypothesis. I at least believe there's a 60% chance of that occurring. This is the EMILIO Pucci website. According to their Instagram, they are going to be dropping the Supreme collection, the same one that we just saw today, including the Supreme box logos on Friday, June 11th, one day after Supreme, which is today. Guess what, guys? Pucci just so happens to be on the same exact platform as those other ones that we did mention, being Off-White and Ambush. Therefore, I am hypothesizing that the way they may drop will be through a subdomain on their website. Your number one chance for getting notified for this would definitely be by a post on their Instagram story or just a normal post on Instagram, so please guys, enable notifications for Pucci. Now, in their announcement, they specifically stated that they will be dropping on EMILIOPucci.com. Hence, some people don't even think that they will be using a subdomain, and honestly, that is a very rational guess, and that's also why I'm saying there's a 40% chance this might not happen. 60% chance it does, 40% chance it doesn't. That's at least my hypothesis. However, I must note that A Ma Maniére, BODEGA, and others have been doing the same exact thing. In fact, just for the recent A Ma Maniére Jordan 3 restock, they announced that it would be dropping on these two different sites. Technically, it did not drop on those two different sites, A Ma Maniére and A Ma Maniére projects. They did not drop any stock there. And we didn't expect them to either because of the last drop we already saw from them. Instead, what they considered dropping on those sites was really just a link to a separate subdomain. I believe the first one was titled something like 123 Go Humans. This one was 123 Go Kids, because the main focus of this was supposed to be to restock kids pairs. They still restocked a few adult pairs though. But anyway, you see my point though. Don't take it too literally that they said EMILIOPucci.com. This could very well mean that they're just going to upload a link to a separate domain, and where they could practically say that yeah, we dropped on EMILIOPucci.com, where in reality, the actual stock is loaded on a subdomain. You see, they did drop on the main site, but the main site had the link you needed to go to the homepage, which redirected you to the subdomain. So it did sort of drop on their site, like I was saying. You did have to visit that site technically in order to find the new domain, unless someone linked it to you. Obviously, they don't want to share that domain, so they're not just going to give it out right away on Instagram. They did not announce a time, unfortunately, but I would guess it might be somewhere around the same time as Supreme normally is. The only difference, this would be on a Friday, so possibly that could be 11 a.m. GMT, 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Unfortunately, there is no way to tell, and I've actually tried reaching out to their support, and their support were completely useless, as you might expect. I can't confirm this, so if you want to sleep in, go ahead. I'm just doing my personal best to share whatever knowledge I can to potentially help you guys, so hopefully you don't scapegoat me if you wake up for nothing. I'm just trying to help. As for the other upcoming shock drops, we should be seeing more ambush dunk drops like this, because as you guys know, we've discussed in the sneaker updates video, there are going to be more ambush collabs, but more importantly and more commonly, we should definitely be seeing more off-white restocks and drops, especially with so many hyped ones upcoming, such as those yellow Air Force Ones, or even the 50-50 dunks that are going to be releasing. There's just so much hype releasing on off-white sometime soon, so it makes perfect sense why they started experimenting with this. Anyway though, that will conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast, residential proxies, and pre-verified Nike sneakers or Adidas accounts. Also, feel free to follow Endurance's Twitter for updates on restocks or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress for free beta key drops. As you may have seen if you've been following the Twitter, we've been absolutely destroying foot site drops. That is the first site we started with for beta, and we're going to be unlocking more soon. Last but not least, make sure to follow Keep That Up 10 and Personals for You so you guys stay updated on all the urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.